Good Wednesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window, and once again, below normal temperatures throughout north central Washington and plenty of wind out there. Although look at that beautiful shot looking down at the Wenatchee Valley from our cross camera. That's up at Wenatchee Heights, and thank you to Sky5 for providing that beautiful shot. You can see some shadows around in East Wenatchee. We did see plenty of cloud cover out there today and a few scattered sprinkles, but the big news was wind, and today will not, unfortunately, be the last day for it. We're going to see some wind for Thursday too, especially around the East Cascades, the Columbia Basin, up around the Okanagan Valley, and the Spokane area will see some wind. We're talking gusts, folks, between 30 and 40 miles an hour. That was today. Tomorrow, not quite as strong, and those gusts won't be that strong here in the Wenatchee area, although we did see gusts approaching 30 miles an hour today. So just get ready for some wind that will blow tonight, once again on Thursday, then a quiet day for Friday, and a heat wave will move in on us next week. We'll talk much more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. We'll have an update on the drug bust and injured ATF agents in a Moses Lake drug bust yesterday. A Cheney woman was killed yesterday in a one-vehicle accident on I-90 near Kittitas. And wolves and wildfires have become the two top-of-mind awareness issues for residents of Northeast Washington, and a group of state lawmakers met last week to tour those areas most impacted by both. But first, we begin tonight. Thanks to eyewitnesses, 5 Moses Lake teens were arrested early Tuesday after allegedly breaking into a home. Moses Lake police say at around 4:50 a.m., residents in the 1200 block of Lakeside Drive noticed several young males breaking into a house. The witnesses were able to give police a description of the suspects as well as their vehicle. When officers arrived and stopped the suspect's car, 5 juveniles exited the vehicle and ran from the officers. The 2011 Acura had also been reported stolen from the 5600 block of Crystal Springs Road earlier in the night. The vehicle was later searched and items stolen from the Lakeside Drive home were recovered. The 5 suspects included 3 14-year-olds, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old. All of the teens were booked into the Grant County Juvenile Detention Center. Well, the 2 federal agents injured in a Moses Lake drug raid Tuesday were treated and released at a local hospital. The agents with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives were hit by shrapnel or debris during a shootout while raiding a home in the 2400 block of Road E5 Northeast in May Valley. The Moses Lake suspect later turned his gun on himself and was taken to a hospital in Spokane, where his condition has not been released. It was one of a series of drug raids in central Washington Tuesday morning. More than 300 federal agents served 19 warrants in Grant, Yakima, and Adams counties. They reported seizing significant amounts of meth, cocaine, and heroin, in addition to weapons and cash. In addition to the ATF, the Drug Enforcement Agency, Border Patrol, and local agencies all participated in those raids. A Cheney woman was killed yesterday in a one-vehicle accident on I-90 near Kittitas. When Washington State Patrol says 55-year-old Virginia Baker was traveling east on I-90, 7 miles east of Kittitas. It was around 2 a.m. Tuesday morning when the Dodge Durango she was driving left the roadway, traveled through DOT fencing, and then went down an embankment, coming to rest on its wheels. It's unknown at this time if drugs or alcohol was involved in the crash, and the cause of that fatal accident is still under investigation. Wolves and wildfires have become the 2 top-of-mind awareness issues for residents of Northeast Washington, and a group of state lawmakers met last week to tour those areas most impacted by both. NCWLIFE Steve Hare reports.
Members of the House Rural Development, Agriculture, and Natural Resources Committee were hosted by Wakanda Representative Joel Kretz and Addy Senator Shelley Short, along with Kelly Suswin, Director of the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. Representative Kretz, a Ferry County horse rancher, has been an outspoken critic of wolf reintroduction and the state's wildfire management program. During the tour, area ranchers described how wolf depredation continues to force cattle off the higher elevation grazing areas, leading to an overabundance of dry grasses, and that, they say, increases the threat of wildfires. They then listened to state officials describe their animal capture plans, techniques, and equipment. Democratic Representative Brian Blake of Aberdeen and chair of the committee said the state needs to do a better job of thinking out of the box in order to ensure that multi-generational ranchers have a chance at staying in business. Afterwards, the legislators drove through scarred and burnt federal forest land on their way to the Deer Creek Summit Campground at the top of Boulder. The group saw the damage done to the forest and then discussed the forest management techniques now being utilized on state land to help prevent massive wildfires. Now, the committee's visit to Northeast Washington was the first to that region in nearly a decade. Kretz said it's important that members get out of Olympia in order to see the real-world problems faced by rural communities. Said he's hopeful that lawmakers can find bipartisan solutions in the next session. Steve Hare, NCWLIFE News.
Coming up next, construction is underway for the new Law and Justice facility located in East Wenatchee. The August primary election is now underway in Washington state, and the vote-by-mail ballots have been issued in Chelan and Douglas counties. And the goats that took over the Wenatchee foothills last week have been very productive in their efforts to reduce fuels in the area to help prevent wildfires. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Moving doesn't have to be back-breaking, stressful work. And I don't want you to make a move that way ever again.
Traditionally, you would rent a truck. You would load up your stuff. You would rent a storage unit. You would transport it. And finally, you would unload your stuff yourself. You don't have to lift a finger. We bring the mobile storage unit to you, we drop it off, then one of our trusted packers can load it for you. We come pick it up and store it securely for you. We bring it back to you. No hassle, no stress.
Highlander Golf Course is proud to announce their two new state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulators with over 80 courses of virtual golf to choose from year-round. Or try their Laser Shot simulated firearm program, or gaming with football, basketball, and much more. Enjoy Highlander food and drink service from their full-service bar and grill in the comfort of their simulator room. Call the Highlander Pro Shop to book your time at 884-4653. That's 884-4653.
Welcome back. In another news, construction is underway for the new Law and Justice facility located in East Wenatchee. Here with more details on the construction and timeline is NCWLIFE's Kyle Montgomery.
Douglas County has begun construction of their new Law and Justice facility that is set to be completed by August and open to the public in November. The new facility is located north of the new Evidence Storage Building and will be adjacent to the Public Services Building located on 19th Street in East Wenatchee. The upgraded facility will look to serve as a collaborative, cooperative, and effective campus for both the public and employees of Douglas County. County Administrator James Barker told NCWLIFE about the new facility along with what departments and offices it will be home to.
New facility will have district court. It'll have offices for the prosecuting attorney, but their main office will still be in Waterville. Superior Court or a second courtroom is available in the new facility, so if Superior Court does need to move its venue down here, or if there are other court activities that need to take place, they can use that facility as well.
The facility will also hold the Adult Juvenile Probation Center, Sheriff's Operations Office, and the newly elected coroner. The new center will replace the existing one on 2nd Street that was in need of extensive repairs that would have exceeded $1 million. The new facility will be financed through existing revenue streams, with half of the $8 million project being paid for using cash reserves. The rest of the money will come from a 25-year bond taken out by the county that is expected to be paid for in 15 years or less. The current building on 2nd Street will be sold following completion of the Law and Justice facility, and proceeds will be used to buy down bonds for an early call to save on internet costs. With NCWLIFE, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
The August primary election is now underway in Washington state. Vote by mail ballots have been issued in Chelan and Douglas counties. In the city of Chelan, Mayor Mike Cooney is challenged by Stan Morse and Bob Getty. NEAP Mayor John Alt will face off against Sarah Tula, Marie Stenberg, and Michael Buckingham. Voters in Wenatchee will choose between Lyle Marquardt, Jorge Chacon, and Linda Harold for the at-large council position. In the Peshastin Water District, Ronald Flugrath, Shane Sandberg, and Lori Malmquist are vying for the two top votes. In Douglas County, the race for mayor of Waterville has attracted 4 candidates to replace Royal Devaney. They are Lloyd Smith, J.D. Greening, Charles Driver, and Jill Daling Thompson. All 3 positions on the Eastmont School Board are contested, but only one at-large Director Number 5 position features 3 candidates. They're Megan Vibert, Peter Smith, and Lyle McClune. They're all competing for the position vacated by Steve Piccirillo. The 2 top finishers will advance to the fall election. Postage-free ballots must be returned to the elections office by August 6th. Well, the goats that took over the Wenatchee foothills last week have been very productive in their efforts to reduce fuels in the area to help prevent wildfires. Chelan County District 1 Chief Brian Brett tells NCWLIFE the pilot project could not have gone any better than expected for county officials.
And as a pilot project, it has went better than we could have ever anticipated. We're super excited to apply for grants and determine other areas within the fire district where we can utilize the goats for further fuel reduction work.
Brett says the next step for the county is to evaluate the impact of the goats and then assess further plans for bringing them back in the future.
Next steps is we'll evaluate the impact to it. For example, we've seen some erosion where their hooves have trampled it excessively. We'll determine what reseeding needs to be done with native grasses, and then we'll see how long it lasts. What's the frequency we need to get the goats back in to keep the fuels reduced? And then when the Chelan County Hazard Mitigation Plan is signed and finalized, we are going to use that as our document to apply for further FEMA grants throughout the fire district where we can deploy the goats.
Brett finished by saying the eating machines have been very well perceived by homeowners in the area, with no negative comments being heard about those goats. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Being able to support yourself and your family is an important part of who we are. We all need to know we're able to provide ourselves with a secure future. Some job seekers have a harder time finding work. That's why Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is here, a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to help people find work. When you shop at or donate to Goodwill, you're really being a job creator, and that's a good thing for everyone's future. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Where were you 50 years ago this week during the Apollo 11 moon launch? While many of us were glued to the TV set in the comfort of home watching Neil Armstrong take his first steps on the lunar surface, U.S. Army vets Dwayne Broaddus and John Wolfe were fighting in Vietnam.
If my guess is right, I would be somewhere up in the top of the Ashaw Valley, a place called LZ Stud. being a combat engineer, we were instructed to tear that base apart. Elsley Stud was about 3 miles below Quezon, which was a very hot part of the Shaw Valley at that time. Constant incoming and just a lot of stuff happening. And I believe about the 5th day we were there, we got hit with everything they had, including small arms fire, and soon almost to be overrun. Got real ugly, real scary, and
So it doesn't bring back very good memories for you.
No, it was very scary. There was 1 platoon of 9th Marines with us and 11 of us 11th engineers there. That was all we had. And we took some pretty heavy casualties. We had Phantoms come in and literally save our ass. 3 dumps apiece on our perimeter. And I'll never forget, they turned and flew a victory roll over us as they left, the bottom jet upside down, and flew over us. And they saved our ass. And so 50 years ago, yeah, I thought about that a couple of days ago. That had to be coming up.
How about you? What were you doing?
Well, I was at Camp Eagle, which was in somewhat the same area, same time. 69 was also the year that we took back Hamburger Hill for the first time. We've been there several times, but we had to go back and take it back a couple times. And the only good thing about that year was I got an R&R.
When did you hear about the moon landing?
Well, we heard it on the radio. Everybody had a radio someplace.
But you had other more pressing matters to worry about at that.
You know, I heard about it, but it was almost make-believe to me. You know, I was in a whole different world than I had ever been, even imagined being in. And so us putting a man on the moon at that particular time in my life was just going, are you kidding me?
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to all those details, let's take a look outside our weather window. And we're back in a familiar spot up on Wenatchee Heights in our cross camera. Thank you to Sky5 for providing this gorgeous picture of the Wenatchee Valley. Doesn't get much better than that, does it, folks? With a little bit of cloudiness out there today. We did see some peaks at the sun, but also some scattered rain showers out there. I know when I was home in East Wenatchee for lunch, got a little bit of a rain shower at that time. And that's kind of the day it was this afternoon, with just showers off and on around North Central Washington. The wind was pesky out there today. We did see a steady wind between 10 and 20 miles an hour, with our strongest gust this afternoon at 29 miles an hour. But it just didn't get all that warm today either with the cloud cover out there. So once again, well below normal here in the Wenatchee area, unofficially at 77 degrees. It's funny though, when the sun peaks out, we jump up a few degrees. So we probably will tick that up a little bit tomorrow. 88 is our normal high temperature. 63 is where we started our day this morning, and that's right where we should be for this time of year at 62. 105 degrees, our record high set back in 1960. Our record low, 47, set in 1986. No new precipitation the past 24 hours, so we sit on 4.22 inches for the year. And once again, I mentioned this yesterday, that's about 3/10 of an inch behind where we should be for this time of year. Sunrise this morning, 5:21, and the sun will set tonight at 8:52. Let's take a peek at tomorrow now, and things will change a little bit. Mainly, we'll see a little bit warmer temperatures, but not much. We're going to see plenty of wind out there as well. In fact, temperatures will remain pretty consistent that we saw today. 80 for Moses Lake, 79 in Ephrata rather. Wenatchee at 77 degrees, consistently at 77 in Eniat. A little cooler for Chelan. Lake Wenatchee, the cool spot at 67, and a nice day up to the north in Okanagan County. Omak should check in tomorrow at 78 degrees. Putting that surface loop in motion now. Tonight, we will expect partly cloudy skies, a west wind out there. Keep in mind, the purples and reds are the strongest winds we will see on this windy map. Also strong winds in the orangish color. So that will be our situation tonight. You'll probably hear that wind overnight, 10 to 20 miles an hour. As we get into Thursday, yeah, even windier. Sunny with windy conditions, 10 to 20 miles an hour, and strong gusts right here through central Washington. Wenatchee, we could see a 30 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts tomorrow, and even stronger up in the Okanagan Highlands. Friday, sunny, less wind. We'll still see some cool temperatures, but most of that wind will move to the east into Montana. And as we move into the weekend, that will make for clear skies. Just a few clouds out in the Pacific, even Seattle. Just beautiful to start off the weekend on Saturday. And as we move into the end of the weekend, then heat wave is on. We will see warmer temperatures for Sunday, probably in the middle to upper 80s for Sunday, more in the upper 80 realm, I think, for most of us, especially for you folks over in the Columbia Basin. And as we move into the first day of our work week next week on Monday, yeah, we're going to call it hot. We are all going to be at 90 or in the lower 90s, at least in north central Washington. You folks in Moses Lake could top off around 93 on Monday, and even warmer than that on Tuesday. We're talking temperatures in the 95 to 100 degree range. So yeah, get ready for all of central and eastern Washington to be very hot Monday, Tuesday, and even past Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Here's your quick Lube and Tune forecast. It's going to cool down at night now. 58 degrees our overnight low tonight. 76 is all for our high tomorrow, with 53 our overnight low. That's one of the cooler temperatures we've seen in a while. 78 your high temperature on Friday. And then look what happens at the end of the week and into the weekend. 84 on Saturday. Beautiful start to our weekend. 89 on Sunday. And then look at those temperatures on Monday and Tuesday. We will warm up in the middle 90s with lows in the middle to upper 60s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, serving North Central Washington, is proud to offer the finest heating and cooling air quality products along with prompt and professional customer service since 1984. Regardless of the temperature outside, Arctic is here for you. Arctic offers a variety of services: residential and commercial heating, air conditioning, commercial refrigeration, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
Where will you be a year from now? You could be working as a medical assistant. The Charter College Medical Assistant Certificate Program gets you work ready in 10 months. Add 5 more months to earn an associate degree. We prepare you with hands-on training and support you after graduation with job search help and interview skills. Institutionally accredited by the Accrediting Bureau of Health Education Schools, Charter has been training healthcare professionals for more than 30 years. Charter College. We work to get you to work.
A sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Wednesday to you. The Wenatchee Apple Sox ran its winning streak to 6 games last night with a big 13-1 blowout victory on the road at Kelowna. Cody Colden finished a triple away from the cycle, and Hunter Montgomery hit a grand slam to deliver the Sox 6th consecutive win. For the 6th consecutive game, the Apple Sox struck first by scoring in the first inning. Colden led off the game with a home run on a 2-2 pitch. Then Ryan Altenberger singled and scored on an RBI double by Dalton Harum. That made it 2-zip Sox. The Sox have now scored 16 runs in the first inning over the course of their 6-game winning streak. In the second, Dylan McPhillips and Colden both walked and then scored on an RBI double, or 2 RBI double by Altenberger, who then scored on an RBI double by Johnny Sage. The Sox went to work again in the fourth. Brett Gillis singled and Colden doubled him in to make it 6-0. Altenberger was hit by a pitch before Sage plated Colden with a single. Harum walked to load the bases, and then Blake Klassen drove in Altenberger with a single. Montgomery launched his 4th home run of the season to clear the bases, and that made it 12-0 Apple Sox. Wenatchee scored their final run of the 7th inning when Colden singled with 1 out and scored on an RBI single by Harum 3 batters later. Sam Wyatt worked 6 innings for the victory on the mound, allowing no runs, 5 hits with 7 strikeouts. Wenatchee will try to extend its streak tonight at 6:35. Ryan Long on the mound. Kelowna has not announced its starter. Well, 4 members of the Wenatchee Apple Sox will represent the organization next Tuesday at the 2019 West Coast League All-Star Game that will be in Bend, Oregon. Ryan Altenberger, a junior out of Xavier University, is hitting .280 with extra base hits, make that 8 extra base hits, tied for 3rd most on the Apple Sox roster. Jake Somm is an incoming freshman at UCLA. He's 3-0 on the mound for Wenatchee with a 2.70 earned run average in 5 games, 3 of which were starts. Sam Wyatt is a senior at the University of Northern Colorado. He's 2-2 on the mound with a 2.73 earned run average. Wyatt's 36 strikeouts leads the team in that category. Cole McKenzie, a senior at Purdue, is hitting .370 to lead the Apple Sox. He's also tops in the team with hits with 40, stolen bases 11, doubles with 9, extra base hits with 10, and hit by pitches with 9. This is the 2nd consecutive year the Apple Sox have had 4 All-Stars selected. Altenberger will also participate in the Home Run Derby the night before at 6:30. Let's open up the Les Schwab scoreboard and see what else happened across the West Coast League last night. James Sashin and 3 other pitchers combined on a 4-hitter against Port Angeles as Cowlitz won that one 4-1. Tyler Frazier tossed 7 innings of 2-hit shutout ball with 8 strikeouts to lead Yakima Valley over Bend 1-zip. The Pippins' lone run came on an RBI single by Nick DiCarlo in the 5th inning. Harrison Spahn hit a solo home run, and Nick Adams had a 2-run dinger to highlight a 6-run 4th inning as Victoria topped Walla Walla 7-1. Calvin Turchin earned the victory on the mound, going 6 innings, allowing 1 run on 7 hits. Kyle Manzardo was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs to lead Portland past Bellingham 5-1. Casey Hunt and 3 relievers held the Bells to 1 run on 4 hits with 9 strikeouts. And in non-league play, Brody Barnum was 4 for 4 as Ridgefield topped the Highline Bears 3-2. The Raptors scored what proved to be the game winner in the bottom of the 7th on a solo home run by Justin Boyd. Here's the latest standings in the West Coast League's North Division. Wenatchee is in first place at 5-2, statistically tied, that is, with Victoria, who's 6-3. Yakima Valley moves up to 3rd at 4-4. Port Angeles falls to 4th at 3-4. Bellingham in 5th at 1-5, and Kelowna right behind the Bells at 1-6. Well, Marco Gonzalez and the Mariners were peeved by a missed call and then fell apart in a 9-2 loss last night in Oakland. Gonzalez and the rest of Seattle's bench felt he had struck out Marcus Semien in the bottom of the 5th on a 3-2 pitch, but home plate umpire Brian Onora called it a ball 4. Gonzalez upset, demonstratively so. He gave up back-to-back home runs following that to Matt Chapman and Matt Olson. The game turned from a 2-1 contest to a 5-1 Oakland lead. They go on for the win. After the game, Gonzalez said, quote, "It's pretty sickening to have a game in the 5th inning, 1-run ball game, 3-2 count, 2 outs. It feels like that's taken away from me. I couldn't have made a better pitch." The former Apple Sox pitcher went on to say, quote, "Never in my career have I supported showing up umpires. They have a tough job, but that was absolutely awful. I'm sick about it. Change the entire game. 1-run ball game is going to be a tough one to swallow," end quote. Chapman was a one-man wrecking crew for Oakland in that game last night, finishing with 5 RBIs. Seattle's only offensive effort came from 2 solo home runs from Omar Novares. Now, we go to today. The losing streak reaches 6 with the loss to Oakland. Eric Swanson gave up a 2-run home run in the 2nd. Tommy Malone gave up 3 home runs, including 2 to Mark Canha in Seattle's 10-2 loss. Athletics ended up hitting 6 home runs, with 2 each by Canha and Jurickson Profar. Malik Smith and Tim Becken each had 2 hits for Seattle, who have the day off tomorrow before hosting the Angels in the first of a 3-game weekend series on Friday. Mike Leake will get the start for Seattle. LA has yet to announce their starter. Also in the American League West last night, we'd go back to the Les Schwab scoreboard. Ketel Marte's 5th inning RBI single broke a 2-2 tie. Arizona went on to beat Texas 9-2. Los Angeles scored 6 runs in the 1st inning, cruised to a 7-2 win over Houston. That's sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee with host Dan Kuntz. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.